Hello and happy Money Monday. Bridgette here joining you again with a very important topic that you have asked me multiple times, and I'm happy to keep sharing about it because it is going to change depending on the season of business you're in. So the question is this: when should I be looking at my numbers throughout the month? So I have a resource out there. I always promote to have a minimum a monthly money date with yourself. This is for business owners. This is for managers of your household, your personal side of your finances, at minimum a monthly money date. I talk about it in a way that feels more ritualistic, less rigid. Some things that I mention in there is, basically just set up a space, make sure that you feel comfortable, light a candle, pour a glass of wine, play some music, log into all of your accounts so you're ready to go. But really, most importantly, just set that time with yourself to be able to build your relationship with your money. A lot of people have money stories. So it's not just looking at your numbers, it's understanding how you feel about money, because money is an energy and you've got a relationship with it that might have come from past experiences that maybe those feelings about money aren't even yours to carry. Or maybe it's up to you to go ahead and change that relationship right now. So a monthly money date is what I recommend. However, I want to dig a little bit deeper because this question continues to come up. Okay. And before I do, I also want to remind you that I have a free resource out there. So if you're sitting there and saying, I have my monthly money date on my calendar, I'm scheduled, I'm ready to go, what number should I be looking at? Well, as a business owner, I've got a great resource on my website, bridgetteboucha.com, that's called the 5 Numbers You Need to Know. It's a step-by-step guide into looking at the 5 numbers that you should be looking at every single month. So go ahead and grab that if you haven't already. All right. So with that, when should I be looking at my numbers? So there's a couple different takes that I have on this, different approaches, different seasons of your business. The one thing that comes up first is the first of the month. So the first of the month is kind of when things conclude, right? Like within the first couple days of the month, you get your bank statements and your credit card statements, depending on when those closing dates are. But you should have like a closed month. In order to start looking at it. You're going to say, what is my bank balance? What was my revenue from last month? How did my numbers perform? Was I profitable? Those kinds of things. But the first of the month is a great time to do that because you're setting the intention for what's happening going forward. So if you have an upcoming investment or some sort of expenditure that you want to make sure you plan for, the first of the month is a place where I would start if you haven't started scheduling a monthly money date yet. So that's number one. Number 2 is around your bursts. So I use this term because it means like something like payroll. Okay, so if you have payroll that you're going to pay out the 15th or the 20th or whatever that time of the month is, you're going to want to do a financial overview of what to make sure you have enough in the account, to make sure if you have variable compensation where you pay people hourly or you pay yourself based on kind of what that level of work that was came in for the month. You always want to just make sure all your ducks are in a row before you have a big burst. Payroll could be one of those. If you have a launch, if you're an online service provider or product launch, something like that, where you expect a big cash influx to come in, you're going to really want to look at your numbers around that time, not just to kind of see what you have in your account, but to see how the launch performed, right? Because success leaves clues, and the opposite is also true. So you're really going to want to do a numbers assessment around a launch. So those are some of the big bursts that I can think of. A good way to be able to establish what's kind of recurring in your business and what's more of a burst would be to look at your recurring expenses. So I always tell people, if you're looking at your cash flow, I take the month and I kind of divide it into threes, like a third, a third, and a third. So what expenses are recurring, or what things do I pay the 1st through the 9th, the 10th through the 20th, and then the 21st to the end of the month? Understanding the behavior of your cash flow in a full month cycle will be really helpful. And I'll give you some examples as to why that would be helpful. But for example, if your clients pay you, your recurring clients pay you on the 10th of every month, you should then want to pay yourself or pay your team after that, right? You can move some dates around to make sure that you're funded. A lot of times people will say, like, especially on the personal side, they'll be like, I start the month out just like, boom, it's all gone because my mortgage comes out or something like that. But getting to know the behavior of your cash flow will help you in timing some of these things. So 1st through the 9th, 10th through the 20th, and 21st through the end of the month. Cash flow behavior is really important. You might even want to look at your numbers weekly as you start to really familiarize yourself with it. So those are some of the ways that I explain what works best for different business owners in their season of business. So what do I do? I'll give you exactly what I do. So I'm very in tune with my numbers. Obviously, I'm a CFO. I work with entrepreneurs. I built a career around numbers. I look at my numbers pretty often, but I'll tell you exactly when I do. So the first of the month, I have on my calendar a monthly money date. That is when I go in and I just kind of check everything and make sure, look at what was performing up to that point and what I anticipate for the next month. I also do it around payroll because I want to make sure that all the ducks are in a row. The business credit card has enough to be able to pay off that the payroll, those kinds of things. I am an S Corp, so I won't get into too much detail, but I actually have a payroll system. So there's payroll taxes that come out, those kinds of things. And then I look at the burst. So if there's something that I really anticipated with a launch, I don't do a lot of launches, but I do offer money mapping sessions. Those would be considered a burst because there's an influx of cash when people make deposits and payments on that. So those are the things that I do. I actually look at it multiple times throughout the month. And it's not that I'm not familiar with my numbers. They comfort me. I use them as a tool to run my business. So I would invite you to take these scenarios, see what fits you best. Don't come from this monthly money date from a place of anything but really truly embracing and empowering yourself to use your numbers. Money should really come not from a place of fear and shame, but potential and possibility. So remember, the money is telling you a story of your business, and you can't edit it if you're not looking at it. So go to my website, grab that free resource if you're a business owner, 5 numbers you need to know, and let me know what you decide as far as the frequency of how you're looking at your money. All right, happy Money Monday. I'll catch you next time.